Welcome to Bowl Fans International. You're joined by Nick and myself. Welcome, Nick. Hello.
Always good to be on. Hello. Great to be on after a win and the season from hell that we were saying last week. For as bad as we've been, somehow we've wrapped up a Champions League qualifying place with a game to spare. Crazy when you put it that way.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's the most, we're going to get into it, but it's the most uncharacteristic Panathinaikos way to do it. To break that away hoodoo. First time since 15th of December 2024. So it's our first away win of the season. We can tick that box off. First win at that stadium, and the first time we've won it now, Philadelphia, since 1995. I come from behind as well. And then luck being on our side in the dying seconds of the game with a big chance break. Very uncharacteristic things happened as well.
yeah. You're right. Everything pointed towards a recipe for disaster, but yeah, we talked about it. Now would probably be the best time to play Ike, weirdly enough, and we'll get to it as well. Obviously, sporting the Star Wars hat for yesterday's International Star Wars Day. I don't think you're a big fan, but let's kick things off because the force was definitely with Panathinaikos today. Um, Panathinaikos played AEK away. We won 2-1. Goals came from Lamela in the 44th minute for AEK, who took the lead. It was a passage of play where Lamela made a run through. Seren didn't track his run. Cross went in. Can't really blame Mladenovic because Mladenovic then came in, but it was
Yeah,
Seren that just let Lamela run, and
yeah.
he
Goal
got
side.
yeah, he met the cross, and it just trickled in. It wasn't like something easy to save, but defensively, just Seren gave up on that run. Then Ounahi scored a screamer in the 51st minute. There was another passage of play where I think it was Vagianidis or Max Vagianidis on the edge. It could have been Tedeschi. Someone put the cross in. It found Maximovic. He laid it back to Ounahi, who was outside the box, and he hit it to the top corner. Obviously, I think it was Vagianidis because what happened
I think it
was
was, yeah. Vayanidi started the play.
then I started whinging VAR that the ball went out. VAR reviewed and cleared it. No offside, but they were reviewing the if the ball had gone out on the side. And in the 61st minute, Swideski scored from the penalty spot. Vagianidis once again made a break on that right wing. It was very reminiscent of the Euro 2004 penalty where Jurkas won the penalty for Cristiano Ronaldo. Just Pierrot was tracking him, making the run, made a clumsy attempt at a tackle to stop him from behind, and both players went down. Um, VAR also looked at it and gave it a penalty. You can clearly see there was a lot of contact, and Sudesky sent Brignoli the wrong way to give us the 2-1 lead. How do you see the match?
It's a tale, not even a tale of two halves, because for as bad as what we were in the first half, I don't think they were that good either. I just think that the first half, both were kind of just going through the motions. And then, as I said, it was very uncharacteristic of us to wake up when we went a goal down. And in hindsight, it's probably exactly what we needed to spring us into life. And you can see that behind in my photo here with Zvidersky and Dorota, the incident started from Mladenovic for us, and for them it was Mandalos, another player I can't stand. For them, that's had digs at us in the past, years ago, Mandalos. And that passion, Zvidersky to pull down Rota. And other instances as well. Mladenovic has done it to him in the past. And then Zvidersky putting it past Brignoli for the penalty. Tsiloulis, our players were in their face and we rubbed them. We finally got under their skin for once. So the reaction was good. Man of the match, two horse race, Vagianidis or Ounahi. I'd probably lean towards Vagianidis, even though the club gave it to Ounahi. The first goal was he scored some sensational goals for us. That's probably the pick of him in a high stakes game, top corner, keeper, no chance of saving it. Nicely laid off as well by Maksimovic. As you said, the second one was a Stonewall penalty, and then Zvidevsky just outsmarted Dignoli. And then as soon as it was one of those games where I felt as soon as we were able to equalise, to make it 1-1, we're going to be the only winners. Because we talk about us being mentally weak and no leaders. It's amplified there with AEK. This isn't an AEK podcast, but they've had a disastrous season, and that's putting it mildly. From the Noah disaster almost a year ago, the infamous game where we beat them at Oaxaca and Almeida's presser, 6-0 loss to Olympiacos, 3-2 loss at home to PAO, despite leading 2-0. And today was the icing on the cake for them and the nail in their coffin in their season. And it's funny for us, we couldn't buy a win when we needed it a couple of years ago, the infamous Dabanovic game where we robbed when Ivan was coaching us. And even last season when we lost 3-0 there in the playoffs with Terim. And we win this game. It came a couple of years too late, but yeah, just good to get the monkey off the back and good to wrap up Champions League with a game to spare. Other than that, as I said, the two star performers in this one definitely Ounahi and Vayanidis. That there was offered in this one. That's about it. That's about it. First half poor, second half a lot better, especially when we went a goal down. That sparked us.
Look, I found the match really disappointing. That first half was really, really poor, in my opinion. I was getting very frustrated, then I was almost going to jump on the anti-Rui bandwagon because that first half was very reminiscent of us playing under Alonso, just unable to hold the ball, unable to create anything. It was just hoping the wingers would do all the heavy lifting. Sudeski was very anonymous in that first half. He had that one half chance where he was probably better off laying it back or passing it rather than trying to turn his whole body to shoot, which was a weak and ineffective shot. And it was the only notable chance of the half. It was very poor. I would definitely would have given the man of the match to Vayanidis because he was superb for the full 90 minutes. He was the only one in that first half that was really, playing and giving it his all and was effective. Palishu was trying. He made some good runs, good hustles, but he did have a couple of heavy first touches, not really controlling the ball well. Um, Ounahi, he couldn't really get involved in the game. It was just very, very frustrating. Mladenovic played not too bad as well. Just got to give him his props as well. I thought he was fairly solid there. But that first half was really, really poor. Once again, we lacked the leadership. We lacked everything. When we went halftime, you would have seen the halftime post. It was just, I thought, yeah, we're weak, inept, lack of leadership. A lot of the same things that we've seen early in the season and the week before. It was like this can turn real nasty because the fans at Opap Arena um were loud, especially that first half. Then we came out, we found some space and we got the equalizer and you came out of almost nowhere that equalizer, considering what we were watching. It took everyone by surprise, and I think even the home fans. And then the moment the game changed was that scuffle, because Mandalos always plays that fake tough guy where he acts tough, but then runs behind everyone else when the tough gets going, and he just looks
Yeah,
confused and dopey, like how he always does. But he's a fake tough guy, and you see Swiderski come in, you just see Ingerson running like a Viking, ready to like
yeah,
monster a few of them. But that's when you knew Ike was going to self-destruct. You just knew at that point the game was going to turn, and we got the penalty, and then Ike really didn't have anything right until the end. They had
the
the
end.
Tiluli's header right at the end who hit the crossbar, but couldn't happen to a nicer guy considering his antics for Lamia last year. Um, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So A bit of karma coming his direction, considering he's had a bad year at AEK. There was so many surprising things AEK did was especially playing Tilulis, especially coming on over Eliasson, who has been pretty dominant against us, Eliasson, over the last year or two. I found that a bit surprising, but the second half was a bit of change, a bit of the crowd went flat as well. They were really stunned.
As soon as we equalised.
As soon as we equalised, yeah, they went really flat. They went really quiet. I think they felt it as well that the tide had changed. The momentum had swung in our favor. There was a lot of fight from us. We saw Jedwai go down in the first half
Mm.
fairly innocently. There wasn't any contact to his injury, but he got carted off. It appeared to be a back injury of some sort, so I'm not too sure what the diagnostics are there. But sorry, not but Dragowski also went down as well from a kick that he did. He always seems to go down, but stayed on, seemed okay. So that was positive for us. Um, but yeah, that second half, players lifted. We
Mm.
saw Bayanidis just on fire. Maximovic was doing his job. Ounahi was getting a bit more involved. Tete was trying, but just I
Off
don't
that.
know, execution passing was just still a bit off, but he was still running. He did one big error, then he came back and won the ball and created a counter-attacking chance. So you can tell he was trying, but he was just quite ineffective with what he was doing. But yeah, it was a weird performance. It was really weird.
Mm.
Back against the walls was just a recipe, could have been a recipe for disaster. Um, you know, 3 points. We secured the second spot because Olympiacos beat Bulk. And Bulk took the early lead off a very bad, you could almost say suspect way of going behind. But you know, Olympiacos then proceeded to score four essentially. Um, and Bulk only got in one other. But from that first minute, you just thought this is not going to end well for us. This could be a fourth place for us because, you see Polk take the lead 1-0. You see Palishu getting absolutely, um, he got absolutely butchered and brought down. Referee Heels play on. It was in the first minute. I thought we're in for a long, long game here. Um, I think AEK were more interested in trying to get decisions through the referee. They were crying over two penalty calls, which were nowhere near penalties. They were calling for a handball on Ingerson when the ball hit his chest, and then he got Lamela doing hand signals for VAR. I don't know what
Oh yeah.
he's doing that. He did it again when a Panathinaikos player was on the floor and they kicked the ball into his hand. They're calling for a penalty. That's not a penalty. So, you know, and then they go ballistic when they actually fouled the player in the box. So I think they were more interested in trying to get a result through the officiating rather than trying to win the game on the field.
They're a lot more mentally weak than us, and we're not good at all in that department. But I just felt it was one of those games where even our season, like in the context of the season as a whole, we got over the line in this game and the season more so on individual brilliance, like relying on the individual rather than the collective, like big moments from Vajanivis or Ounahi or Zurisic or Tete or Pelistri at different points throughout the season. That's what happened in this game. The great goal, a bomb goal by Ounahi, and we moving forward. What I'm trying to say is we need to establish an identity and build a set game plan, a plan A,
Yeah.
concrete.
Yeah, and that's going to bring us into this next part, which, it's whether Rui stays or goes. Again, we talked about it last week that even if he finishes second, that he's very likely gone if they can get a Sari level replacement. That was the early, re- what the journalist put out there on socials. And it's again after this game sort of made the headlines again that while Rui is the coach, if they can get and they actually said a Surrey like coach or a Surrey level. coach, then Rui's gone, irrespective that he finished second. So, um, yeah, I definitely think, even from last week, what I said that questions need to be asked of Rui, 100%. I still think he's the man to go forward, but the club needs to understand his plan and if they can trust that this is the plan that they want to go with moving forward.
I would say before we even get to Victoria, we have to establish if the other man, the man he should be reporting to in theory is going to be there, Papa Dimitriou.
That
Yeah,
guy is like a cockroach in like a
that's an
nuclear
understatement.
thing, just surviving.
That's an understatement. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All signs point to him being there, unfortunately. And then if that's the case, then we have to move on to the coach. If it was up to me, I'd keep him around. That's just, not just because we've gotten second place now secured. I've been saying this for a number of weeks, a number of months. We can't go down the transit lounge that we've become in six coaches in the space of 18 months. Victoria took the inherited disaster. We were ninth, and we've ended the season in second. Okay, the others being atrocious has contributed to it, and the individual brilliance, like the high quality of individuals, that's all contributed. But under Alonso, we will not have finished second. We will not have climbed from ninth to second. We saw more so in the early parts what I think he wants from us, his ideal plan A. But the other thing is the transfer window. We don't know what PSR, FFP, what it's going to look like for the club. We might be forced into sales, but I don't think Zviderski and Siopis were his signings. They were players with prior Greek league experience.
Yeah, he rubber
Club
stamp
signings.
those deals. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see us with a full preseason under him and where he's got more say to bring his own players in. Then we can properly judge him. Then I'll critique him more harshly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this season has been a weird season.
I think he's earned the right for that at least.
Olympiacos, ran away with it at the end, but you can
Yeah,
point to
man.
many points of this season where
They've
they,
run away with it with a small squad, lots of young players. We blew a real opportunity for a real run this season.
it wasn't just us. You could say even Bulk blew the opportunity as well because in the early months, that October, November period, his job was under threat. There was talks that
Their
he might
coach,
be
yeah,
sacked.
yeah.
And then Bulk's decline started around that December mark. We
Then
started
we picked up.
losing, and then Olympiacos started going on that streak. But for us, we hit the wall after the Ceres game, and we just never recovered from that. While
That's the
Ike
one.
and Bulk were bumbling, getting mixed results, Olympiacos were the only consistent team towards that back end, and that's how they won it,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
So yeah, you know, we've seen with us that we've had some good moments, but we've had a lot of bad moments. We just couldn't really keep it
Definitely.
consistent.
Especially domestically. Honestly, this season, I said it last week. It's a contender for one of our worst ever in my lifetime. I know we've had lower mid-table finishes in the past, but we've spent serious money on this squad, and the way it all panned out, and we haven't beaten Olympiacos. We're 13 points away from first. Out of the cup, it was a disastrous season. It's a 1 or a 2 out of 10 domestically.
And it all started with the chasing of Sari and the preseason that Alonso
Yeah.
took, which there
That's
was
to
some
blame,
really bad
both sides.
results. Yeah, and it just
That's why
went wrong.
now this second place, and we said it as the playoffs were starting, we're not going to be celebrating, partying in the streets and all
No.
that we've got second place in Champions League. But what it does do is it presents us with a golden opportunity to right the wrongs of this time last year.
Yeah,
You got
yeah,
a golden chance now to move forward with essentially a clean slate and really do what you should be doing as Panathinaikos.
but
A
that's
set
why
identity,
that's
set way of playing, signings, no circus, a proper preseason.
Yeah, we definitely can't. We can be happy we finished second, whatever. But we're not going to celebrate it because it is a failure. It's your first or your last, as Talladega Nights says,
But we're not
in
only
Talladega Nights. But the thing also is that's why I'm saying questions need to ask like they need to sit down with Rui and what's his vision? What does his vision align with the club's vision? Can he promise us to one step further?
It's funny you say that because he said that in his post-game press conference. That's for me to sit down with the club. He goes, I want to stay. And that's for me to do in the coming days, the next 24, 48 hours with the club. I have to tell him my vision and see if we can agree.
Yeah. And I think that's very fair. I think that probably statement needs to come from the club as well. Because yeah, he needs to line out his vision, his targets, what he's looking for. You know, I drew up whatever on my own a list of the outgoing players and the potentials, and there's we're looking at like at least 7, 8 signings we're gonna need
He alluded to that too.
because
Major makeover.
yeah, because we know Max is gone. Max will be sold or released, whatever. Mladenovic is coming off contract. He hasn't extended yet. We
I
expect
think he will.
to end. We're going to lose two centre backs, which is Bart and Magnuson. Two defensive mids in Zeka and Ruben. You've got a centre mid, I assume, in Nikas. I would say he might be on the chopping block to be gone as well.
Okay.
Sokai. Then you've got potentially Ounahi, and we'll talk about Ounahi very soon. You've also got, I'd say, potentially on the outer Limnios and Mancini.
Mancini.
There was, what, a few months ago, Limnios to potentially Artis.
Even Gedemeev, maybe.
Yedimedev has 6 more months on his contract. His
Ah,
contract comes at the end of December, which is a bit of a weird one, but yeah.
maybe
But
because he came in that midway Scandinavian.
yeah,
They run on different. Yeah.
so it's a bit of a mixed sort of, you know, what we need. Oh, another hours, or sorry. So three sort of defensive mids. So we're losing quite a few players and expiring contracts. Yeah, we're hoping to make a sell here and there on players that we don't think belong at
Vayanidis.
the club. We'll come to Vainidis soon, but
Oh, oh,
we want Vainidis because
oh, yeah.
I even pulled a tweet and we can talk about it now. Vainidis, give me 11 players or 17 players like Vainidis' heart that has the heart that loves the club. We win the league. I guarantee you, we win the league. The performance he put on today, and he plays with passion. We've just seen him improve game after game, month after month. There's big improvements from him. He's going to be the Greek starting back.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's got that job. He's getting attention. He's getting interest. We've seen it, links to Fulham. We're seeing it Sporting now. There was something about an hour ago that came out that Brighton and Everton have expressed Brighton and Everton have expressed their interest. One site said that they've submitted the offer. It wasn't specified the offer. I don't think that's believable. Um, I'm I'm probably thinking what's more realistic is that they want to have talks over any of this. And he's a star. Like for me, he's an absolute star. Just watching him grow, watching him play for the club he loves as well. Like he loves the club.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we need.
Remember, when was it? Might have been maybe coming on to 7 years ago now. When he first burst onto the scene, when we had the transfer embargoes back then, when Makeda signed, and he was like, he might have been under 18, he might have even been 17. And he scored on his debut at AEK. I think he was against Panetolikos. And then he left. He went straight to Inter Milan.
Yeah.
That was so stupid. And
Yeah.
then he really woke up to himself. He realized he came back and he righted the wrongs.
But no, a lot of those Greek kids have that issue when they go to, especially Italy young. We've seen Italy being a disaster for Greek talent, especially when they go 17, 18.
Yeah,
But yeah, thank God it didn't really impede on his growth. Was like I said, I think it was like the start of last year. I was complaining about his inability to cross the ball. He would have issues overhitting his crosses. He just, but we've seen him get better and better. Decision making, execution, bombing up the wing, fit, getting better, you know, staying on his feet. There was a couple of like issues last season, always slipping, the change of shoes, the shoes were his issue. He was slipping, especially in the Yova days. But he's, you know, putting now consistent good performances, and for me, man of the match today as well. So it's no wonder he's getting that interest from abroad. And we've talked about the price tags, whatever. Panathinaikos came out and said whatever, 14 million. But after today, you're looking more at closer to that 20 mark for that.
No, we should. I've
And
been saying 15 all along, but if we can squeeze more, go for it.
and it doesn't mean that we need to sell him because he extended his contract as well. And we don't need to sell him if we don't make, with Champions League or what happens in that competition in the qualifying path because, we will probably need his ability in that qualifying phase. We don't need to sell until whenever the window closes. We don't have an urgency to sell now. He's signed a new contract, so at the moment we hold all the bargaining power as well. Unless there's any clauses, anything that we're not really aware of, we've got the ultimate bargaining chip.
I wouldn't be shocked at all, especially the second round qualifying, because that we'll get on to dates and all that. But I wouldn't be shocked if he has the captain's armband for those games.
I think he more than deserves it.
It wouldn't shock me. We don't know what type of preseason foot he's going to have and if he's going to be there and many different factors there. But take 40 out, who there's not many others, as we've said in previous episodes. And as you said, he's more than deserving, and that could be an extra carrot for him to stay. And then let's say he's not going to want to do a dirty to us. If we tell him, can you stay for the qualifiers, I reckon he'd gladly be the type that does it. Then if we get Champions League, then we're definitely not under pressure, I don't think, to sell.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely correct. Yeah, and I was going to get onto 40. It was a point that I missed out. Sorry, I'm quite a bit tired with the this morning's game, but I was disappointed that 40 didn't start. And Swiderski was, he scored the goal. He showed the fight in that second half, but in that first half, I was very cranky not having a 40 type player on that field, someone with leadership. So he did come on at the end, and he won fouls straight away. He was already a thorn. He won like three, four fouls when he came on. Um, so you can see the kind of impact that he had, especially, being a thorn on the egg side as well. So let's hope, you know, no injuries, especially with the end of the season coming up, one more game. But yeah, another player now. I'm probably in the minority here. There's a lot more people in the wanting Ounahi. What's going to happen with Ounahi? There was initially that was it the 11 million price tag.
11.
Um, I was pretty much a no. I think I'll be honest. I was a player of his quality. He doesn't put consistent performances. We're only really seeing more towards the back end of the season, and it's more towards when his mind just switches on that he wants to fight. He needs, he's very skillful. He can change games on his own. He has that ability, but it's whether that he can consistently do it is whether he can, not force him to like switch on. It's a different story. But if we can strike like a bargain price somewhere around that 7 million mark, then yeah, like we should make a play at him. But there was the conversations back in January where he wanted to leave, but you see in today's social media post put up by was it Vagia or was it
Oh,
that there
get
it,
there, I think, yeah.
it seemed very like or was it no it was him it was his story that to the stars whatever taken to like in reference to
Yeah,
the Champions League. So
Champions League.
I think that for me is every strongest possible message that he wants to stay.
He said it. He came out and said after, I'm very happy here. He said, now it's just up to me to sit down with Panathinaikos and Marseille.
Yeah, So we'll see.
I've
That's
always said if the deal can be done at the right price, do it. And that's another one. Obviously, first things first, Papadimitriou, Victoria. But then if we're going to talk about strictly players, he's one of the first we have to make a decision on ASAP.
Rui was quick to say he wants Ounahi.
Yeah, that's what, if he wants him and he wants to stay, get a deal done.
But, as average as our season has been, we've had a quality player like Ounahi saying he wants to stay. Pelistri also said that he's very grateful and very happy to be at Panathinaikos. Like, I think it's
Because
because
they've had the doses,
he's
like it's
playing.
been sprinkled at Pacto Arca against Chelsea, the Lons game, the derbies. It just hasn't. Imagine if we could string it together and be in a title race.
But I think it's got also to do with playing, starting, and stringing performances that, those opportunities weren't coming to either of them. So, Pelistri.
Like I said, that's injuries paved the way for Unai.
Yeah, yeah. But we Palacio would have not gotten these opportunities if he chose to remain at Manchester.
No,
And I don't think Ounahi, I think he would have been still a fringe player at Marseille.
yeah,
So look, it's a bit of a weird one. Like I said, as average as our season has been, these players,
it's
especially that are
moments.
probably worth the most in our team, outside of say Forty Vagianidis, are the ones that are happy to stay and express their happiness.
Yeah.
So,
It's just the moral of the story is learn from last year and right the wrongs because you've been presented with a golden opportunity now. We're not saying Champions League's a necessity from here or we're gonna do it and all that.
mm,
Obviously, we're outsiders. It's going to be very hard.
it's a
But
tough,
Ivan almost did it with a much weaker squad on paper.
it's a
So it's
tough.
not like it's totally impossible.
I think we've got a tougher path than Yova because at the moment
Without a doubt. And,
there's
and we got a better ranking now.
there's three there's three qualifying rounds to go
It
through.
was three with Ivan too.
Was it three? Who did we beat in the first? I know it was
Dnipro, Dnipro,
yeah.
Marseille, Braga. And ironically, we took, because we eliminated Marseille from memory, we took their seeding and we were seeded and we lost to Braga.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot about Dinbro. Yeah, yeah. That crap team. Yeah, so
Look,
at the moment,
second round, we're favored. The teams aren't locked in, but at the moment, as it stands, we're talking. I don't even know if I've pronounced this correctly. Bran,
yeah, the
Brawn, Norwegian.
Danish team, Norwegian, that's it.
Norwegian. There's Austria, Vienna, so Rapids rivals, and Servette being the other one, and we'll be seeded with Rangers.
Yeah, and Fenerbahce, I think.
No, Fenner joined from in the third round.
Third round? Okay. Is there a chance that we start off in the third round? Was that a possibility?
Yeah, I don't know what we need for that.
Which would, yeah, benefit us a lot
Absolutely,
because if we
2 weeks
start
longer
to qualify at
preparation.
three, we minimum make Europa League.
Europa, correct,
Yeah.
and
So,
we get a longer preseason.
yeah, it's very important that hopefully the stars align and we start from qualify three, or we get an easier task and we progress to qualify three. That there's still the after qualify three the playoff, but the minimum objective has to be getting to qualify three because the teams there. I believe it was Benfica, Fenerbahce, um, Club Brugge, Feyenoord. Yeah, I'd want to avoid Benfica. I think Benfica is easily the standout there. Club Brugge, but of course historically has bad record against Belgium teams. I think I fancy our chances against um Fenerbahce and uh,
Nice.
Nice is also there. Uh,
They're,
but I
a
also
lot
think
of them
we get
aren't concrete. The only sort of one that's pretty much almost set in stone is Fener because they're not going to finish first, and I doubt they'll finish third. Whereas the rest, like Bruges, for example, wouldn't shock me if they won the league. So then it wouldn't be them.
yeah. So, but yeah, I can't remember the other team. Final.
Nice, Feyenoord, Bruges, Benfica. I think
Yeah,
that's all of them.
I've seen a couple of their games and they haven't looked that impressive. We can match it. Like we've seen it with Ajax away. We've seen it with Lens. We've seen it with Fiorentina where we did pretty good. So if we do start off in qualifier two, that is going to be 22nd July to the 24th of July. First leg and
Yeah,
second leg would be the
firstly.
week after, 29th to 31st. So um more
The
to,
draw is the 18th of June. It's a Wednesday.
yeah, more to come from that one as well. So we'll see. We'll see with that.
It's
Uh,
just get your ducks in drag. Get yourself sorted. Make the key decisions off the field way before then.
yeah. But knowing us, Stan Pavlikos,
Oh
it's
yeah.
the
Oh,
way
no
they do
faith.
last
No
minute
faith. Yeah.
signings.
The way
It's
the
like what
clubs
we
run.
what we saw with Tete. I think it was like he got announced during the game or something.
He was at the game. He was
The
unveiled or he
Botev
landed
or
and he attended
something.
the game. Yeah. That was
Yeah,
Botev, I think.
Botev, yeah.
The second or first leg.
First leg, yeah, he was in
First leg.
Athens. Yeah, he missed out on the game, but he attended
Yeah.
the game. Yeah, they just announced him or something. It's like, yeah, could have not gotten him like a week early or something. But yeah, it's standard Panathinaikos.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see that we're back again in a Champions League qualifier. Um, Obviously, the expectation is, realistically, we don't make it,
No.
but
Europa, I would say, is a minimum from here.
yeah, but if we can get minimum into that third qualifier, it's almost luck of the draw. If we can get paired up with any favorable matchups, it depends what happens. Yeah, yeah, we've
Yeah.
seen we can beat Marseille, we can knock
Yeah.
out Marseille. So
And we've said it repeatedly. That squad is not as strong on paper as the current one.
mm, so we'll see, we'll see. And then with the season pretty much wrapped up, there is the dead rubber game, Panathinaikos Olympiacos. I don't think either team is going to treat it as serious.
No.
I think it's going to be more of a farewell game for a few of our players, our departing players, especially Zeka. Let's see if even Ruben gets a run. I think he deserves one last goodbye. We know there's a very, very bad fallout with Papa Dimitriou, but you'd have to respect that player, his leadership, but he's been around for the club. He's a he was a captain as well. He's worn the armband. Um, I think it's appropriate that he gets respected and he's given a proper send off as well. But yeah, that one is also a 8 p.m. game in Greece, 3 a.m. in Australia. So Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Dead rubber game. Even Olympiacos, they
They
might
got a cup
come to
final
play.
to look
But
at.
yeah, they've
Not
got the
this
cup
one.
final. Like,
Not
I
this one.
don't think they want to, play starters and risk any
No.
injuries as well. Because
No.
Zeka, someone like Zeka from us could do something stupid. Like you wouldn't put it past him. So, and yeah, they've got the cup. It's their 100th year. They probably want to prioritize and bring that, win that as well. So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Panathinaikos Olympiacos at Oaxaca.
It'll be flat. It'll
Yeah,
be the last game. Holiday vibes. Empty, empty Oaxaca. Very severely empty Oaxaca.
yeah.
Rotated weekend squads. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if they put like €5 tickets or something just for, say your goodbye or something. But it's just, yeah, we're expecting the goodbyes, say, for Zeka, Bart as well.
Yeah.
And three players that have worn the captain's armband. So, interestingly enough. Um, yeah, so, yeah, I'm not going to be too emotional over that. It's a dead rubber, as we said.
Lucky. It is a dead rubber. I did not want to go into this last game with something riding on it. where it's going right to the last kick of the season to
Yeah, yeah.
decide Champions League or
I,
something like that.
I'd say Olympiacos would have probably tried to spoil it for us.
100%.
So yeah, that's all right. In terms of that's the end of the soccer segment. Basketball. Just like the games in Greece, the games in
Mm.
the former state of Greece in Constantinople. We split again. So we won game three, 81 to 77. We saw, you know, none back at his offensive best. Um, just really scoring, just, I think it was fueled by a big, second quarter. It was a big second quarter run. We were, easily the better team. And then game four, FS beat us 85-82. And once again, we saw the same issues that's been highlighted by Yanakopoulos and a lot of the fans is the lack of foul calling, especially on Nunn. Nunn is constantly getting hacked, whatever. Just non-calls on Nunn. The officiating just being really poor. And you just see it in his socials as well. Yanakopoulos' socials for the Euroleague president and the senior people to attend to observe the officiating. Some of the calls are just absolutely terrible. You see the standard that some other teams are getting officiated, and it's just absolutely a shit show, to be honest. So we are facing another game five. The last time we had a
Like
game
last year.
was against Maccabi last year, so there's a lot obviously riding on this. The winner of this will be playing Fenerbahce.
Yeah.
So yeah, we win this. We meet Fenerbahce again in the final four. So a lot to play for. So yeah, we've been hampered, especially by the lack of big man.
The
Not
sort.
having Lesor is has been a huge out. We haven't really seen the best of Gabriel just in that position. Yeah, it's just been a bit of a struggle for some of our players. Kendrick Nunn in game four did struggle quite a bit scoring, but he's just getting fouled. Gabriel was just, yeah, really, really poor. Our bigs really did struggle um, in game four, but we just got to, we've got to contain players like Larkin. We've got to contain Bryant as well. Um, Make sure we outmuscle Poirier as well. Um, because that's their danger players, that's their key players. So, um, big game five in Athens, Wednesday morning, in Australia, Tuesday night in Greece. It is a 4:45 tip off, so AM. So it's like a 9:45 p.m. game in Greece. So. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. There's no
It's
doubt about it. It's not something to say. Yeah, we'll win. We'll win.
ultra tough.
Obviously,
Ultra tough, but I expect us to do it. This is Panathinaikos basketball. It's not like the FC. I thought we needed a miracle against State. That's what I was saying in the soccer. It was so uncharacteristic. We've got leaders. We've got a track record. We were in this position last year. Maccabi Haifa, as Haifa, Tel Aviv. I fully expect it to be like that, tense and down to the wire, like that one was. The fans are going to play a big role. It's sold out within what, an hour, under an hour.
it's going to be hostile. It's going to be loud.
Also,
And
and the fact that it's at home, Key, Nuns, Sluka, Sataman, DPG, we got too much, too many. I think we'll be okay.
yeah, and that's where you need. Obviously, none is going to play a big key part, especially in the court, in the scoring. But you also need your vets to step up. You need your Slukases to be instrumental, settling the game, playmaking, making those big shots. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Lorenzo Brown do that. Lorenzo Brown in game four barely got time, only registered one rebound. He's been really a non-factor for Panathinaikos. Um, he's not,
Even someone like Grant as well.
yeah, Julian Grant is,
In the Slukas and none category.
yeah, Julian Grant's an important piece defensively. If he can get a few
And
buckets
one shot.
in there,
They're the key.
yeah, if he can get a few buckets here and there, we need Twanshaw as well. Getting some space, knocking down baskets as well. He can do that. Um, Osman as well, just being the big at the moment. There's some key things, but what's interesting enough, I know we're at home, but the markets have us as fairly strong favorites. You know, uh, I don't know if they're seeing something that I'm not seeing. I think it's going to be a really close and tight game. Um,
5 or 6 points or less.
yeah, yeah, I'd say three and under at the
Yeah,
moment. With they got
yeah,
us as seven
yeah.
point favorites, so it's always going to be tough, especially in the game five against a team that has quality. It's going to be the team that goes on the run and can contain the other team. That's going to be the difference. Which big three, which big three playmakers are going to step up for each team? Who can lock it down? It's going to be that who's going to make that difference there. Will it be Slukas leadership, none catching fire, Jerry and Grant locking down Larkin? Um, you know making sure that we're not giving their bigs too many rebounds, especially on the offensive rebounds for them. Just make sure that we're getting the rebounds. So there's a few key battles that's going to play a key part to game five.
Even tactically, Ataman against their coach, Bunky, what's
Yeah,
the
the
Italian
Italian
bloke?
think, yeah, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah, yeah. So interesting game five coming up. For that. And last week, I did mention that the announcement of the Pavlos Yiannakopoulos tournament was gonna, happen. It was frustrating because we got the email the day before to saying that it was postponed. I kind of had a feeling it was gonna be postponed, especially after the game two loss. I said I think if we had won that game two, it would have gone ahead, but. It is scheduled once again to be on Monday, the following Monday, the 12th. So fingers crossed, there's no more issues, anything postponements, anything like around that it does actually go ahead. So I can actually report on the events as well as key dates, as well as the games are going to be played where, essentially, and who plays who as well. So. Um, we'll have to wait until the following week for that to happen. But, once again, I'm excited for it. It's just, let it go ahead this time. Hopefully that our people on our end just don't just do the Greek thing.
yeah.
I
Surely
can,
not a second time.
yeah, I can just imagine Panatha fan just telling us, to marketing. That, that we need, yeah, it'd be good just for this to happen. And, it won't be a good look if it gets postponed again. Especially with how well organized Australian sort of
Usually, yeah.
organizations are, everything like that. Don't think it will be a good look if it's postponed again. But yeah, apart from that, do we have anything you want to discuss, raise anything that we did miss out?
I think we covered it all. We did a good job covering it. Just glad a long season is over for PAO FC, and it's crazy. This is the same season where we had the tragic passing of Bulldog. We're still in that season. That feels like a totally different season, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does feel like a while ago.
With that's what I mean. It's been a long one. Glad it's over. No confidence to regroup, but it's a golden opportunity. And more importantly, I guess for now, best of luck to Paul BC.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just going through a quick scroll of social media as well to see if we've missed out on anything in the last couple of hours or before we jumped on. Um, but it doesn't seem like there's anything as I've noticed or anything that we've missed out on. Um, but yeah, Nick, I think I think we've got a few more podcasts depending on how the basket season goes, but we'll jump on next week as well, cover the Olympiacos, or maybe we'll see how we go with that as well. But we're nearing the end of our podcasting season.
Yeah, no, I'd say next week definitely. And then we'll see how we go with Euroleague. Then there's even league against Olympiacos. That runs into June.
Yeah, yeah, we'll cover that, but yeah.
We'll cover it. I think they'll be more sporadic though.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll definitely have eyes on them. We'll even get the Arcando involved as well in it.
Before we go, the volleyball.
Yes.
We're 2-0 up
Yes, we're
against
2 up.
Olympiacos.
Yeah. Well, we're big underdog. We're big underdogs for that as well. Olympiacos has like a strong caliber team assembled, but we got the away win, which was big.
Did you see that last point? The devastation, the tears, the eerie, the dead silence.
Yeah. Even even the commentator, the edit commentator, just really showed his true colors and his biasness. He just sounded so deflated. Sounded like us last week. It was just, yeah, even on like the public, you know, TV, that he can
They
be,
can't hide it.
yeah, he couldn't even hide it. But yeah,
Let's
no,
hope we finish them off.
yeah, I think that'll be the icing on the cake. Because even him, his legendary coach, he was a bit under fire as well, and he's turned that around.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yep. All right, Nick. Once again, always a pleasure to speak. Everyone else, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, comment, feedback, share, questions, whatever. Just shout out. And that's it. Thank you all. Goodbye.